So if you can share your experience with me, how the planning differs in the corporate world and in the entrepreneurship world.
Yeah, I think you have to be agile. When I say agile, that means, things that you are, planning to do in a certain manner. And if there is a deviation, if there is a change there, then what do? Just change the plan, you know, go and knock on another door. If a certain software or if a certain approach doesn't work, change it. A lot of times, people are rigid. No, I'm going to do certain things that way. Go and talk to the other entrepreneur, take help. I think these are very common things. A lot of people, go into a cocoon and, they think, they know everything. So, and I always believe that, I'm a learner. I want to be a learner all my life, you know. So I think those are one of the things that, I kept on knocking on the doors, talking to the people who have done it, and then, learning from the people who are already in the space.
This is a Real Estate Vibe Show, and I'm your host, Vinki Loomba. As a real estate investor and a fund manager, I'm always excited to explore the world of real estate opportunities with you and for you. And today, I have a very good friend, Ashish Sanan, with me. I hope I said your name right, Ashish. Welcome to the Real Estate Vibe Show.
Thank you so much, Vinky. Excited to be here with you.
Yes, I know Ashish for a while, and I'm super excited that you're here with me today. And a little bit about him. He is a co-founder of Wealthy Mind Investments with a rich 20-year background in software industry. He comes from the corporate world. He has transitioned into the powerhouse in real estate investing. From Silicon Valley startups to strategic partnerships in development and hospitality, Ashish brings a wealth of experience and a data-driven approach to real estate investing. And our topic is key to unstoppable success. And we all know that mastering our mindset is a key to achieving our goals, setting clear objectives, stay positive, embrace continuous learning, develop resilience. We all know that. But how many times we do that, right? So let's figure out what he did, and then we can follow that path. So Ashish, let's start with a question. Tell us about yourself a little bit, who you are, and how did you get here?
Great question. I am the possibility for the teenagers to build a successful career. And the reason why I say that, who am I? I am the possibility. I'm a friend of all the teenagers out there who are trying to get into a career, and sometimes they are lost. And I see a trend very common actually, and kids don't know, what do they want to do. Forget about the kids actually, some of the grown-ups actually, they have a mindset, to shift their careers from A to B, and they are, sometimes confused, and sometimes they need help, and sometimes they just want someone to listen to. So I am that possibility for them.
I love that. I am the possibility. Isn't everybody is? But a lot of people, they don't realize that. It's the same kind of potential everybody has. So
Yeah,
tell us about your background. You started in the corporate world and then you end up in the entrepreneurship world. So
sure.
what was that like in the 20 years of corporate career? What skill sets that you learned over there, and what made you decide, okay, I'm done here, I wanted to start my own business or start working for my own dreams?
Sure. Yeah. So I came from a business and finance background. And then I always say that, I was accidentally into tech. The reason why I say that, I have a tech slash, business background. And I had a good time in the technology space, startup space, and in fintech as well. And and I pivoted, somewhere around 2006-7 timeframe when I started a tech business, and then that one thing led to the other. I exited that business in 2016. It was a successful exit, and after that, I started Wealthy Mind Investments, co-founded that with my business partner in 2019 2019, so almost like 5 years ago. And we'll dive into it, as you ask me other questions related to this transition and what led to starting this business and the second one.
Right. So answer that. What led you to start this business?
So I came from a business family, and always looked at some of the successful people in my family and around myself, and I always used to surround myself with people who are successful. And then again, everybody has their own definition of successful. It's not about just the money part. It's about to some extent freedom, financial freedom, and also freedom to take risk and do things that you love to do. I think that's what the success is. And then, I have been actually following and surrounding myself with a lot of such people around it, which motivates not just me, actually. It's kind of, radiates an energy when you surround yourself, with people like that. And when I was at, one of the banks I used to work for, and I planned to start the business. And this was, in my late or maybe mid 30s or so. And I thought, it has to be now or never. And
Mhm.
I had two little kids, younger kids, and I thought there was a lot of risk at there on the same time. And there was a financial uh, downturn around 2008-9 timeframe, if you remember that. And
Yes.
I and
Mhm.
I left that job in 2007, and I started the business. And everybody said that, this is the worst time that you can start a business. But anyways, a couple of years were struggle, uh, a big struggle, I would say. The financing was tight. Credit lines were almost non-existent if you don't have
Mhm.
experience. And the same banks actually came back and then gave us, a huge line of credits to grow the business. So I think one of the things that is a perseverance. You have to, you know, focus on what you're trying to do, and don't look back. There will be a lot of people who will try to pull you back or discourage you not to pursue your dreams. I would say that it's all noise. I think if you have already done your homework, what you're trying to do, and educated yourself, just go for it. That will
Yeah,
what stand you apart, from others.
that's so true. That's so true. And you talk about, a lot of things over here. Mainly you talk about your transition and then the 2008 downturn and how it was so challenging for you to start a new business. So can you share with us some of those challenges and how did you mitigate the gaps or how did you face those challenges and then create the success for yourself?
Yeah, so the number one challenge was the lack of a solid plan and the I would say a roadmap. What are you going to do for next 2 3 years? So even though I spent a lot of time in creating a roadmap, on a day-to-day basis, what I'm going to do, and also created a kind of a projections that how the business will shape up in the coming years and months and quarters. Started breaking up into those chunks, manageable chunks. What I'm going to do the next quarter, what I'm going to do the entire year. So that visibility, kept us in a discipline, kept me in a very focused mode. But again, when you start a business, as much as I hate that. No matter how much you plan, things don't go as per your plan. The cash flow, the hiring, the customer acquisition, none of that actually, happened
Mhm.
the way I planned it. The reason because economy was in turmoil, and everything was upside down. So I think within 12 months, I was at a junction there where I had to decide, wind up everything and then, go back and find another job. And, and that was not an option, because I had used up, a lot of my savings and all of that. So I thought, you know what, no, I don't think so. That's an option. And I hired few people too, within the first 12 months. So I thought that, I'm answerable to them too. We're building something in the tech space, a service and a business. which kind of, took off pretty well, but then again, it just tanked, within the first 12 months. So I think the persistence and focus was a key at that time. In spite of all the noise and media and news and all of that, we thought that, okay, you know what, we'll give ourselves another, you know, 2, 3 quarters, at least a year, and then keep pushing forward, keep moving forward. Kept our expenses low and did not wasted any resources, and literally worked long hours. When I say long hours, there was no day which was less than 16 hour a day, or even longer sometimes, stayed in the
I
office.
can resonate with that. Been
Yeah,
there, done that. But you said two important things right there. You talk about the plan and the roadmap.
yeah,
And those are the two very important things. So question that I'm going to ask you is, since I have the similar background as you, I come from the IT world and turn into an entrepreneur.
yeah,
So what is the difference that you saw, the planning in the corporate world or the roadmap that we used to have or get, kind of we used to add on to that, versus creating your own roadmap in the entrepreneurship? So I think for me, it was a huge difference. It was a huge mind shift that I needed. It's like, okay, I'm the CEO of my own life or my
yeah,
own company. I'm just going to be wearing so many different hats. Versus just like being kind of siloed approach that we have in the corporate world.
yeah.
So that was a huge difference for me. So if you can share your experience with me, how the planning differs in the corporate world and in the entrepreneurship world.
Yeah, I think you have to be agile. When I say agile, that means, things that you are, planning to do in a certain manner. And if there is a deviation, if there is a change there, then what do you do? Just change the plan, you know, go and knock on another door. If a certain software or if a certain approach doesn't work, change it. A lot of times, people are rigid. No, I'm going to do certain things that way. Go and talk to the other entrepreneur, take help. I think these are very common things. A lot of people, go into a cocoon and, they think, they know everything. So, and I always believe that, I'm a learner. I want to be a learner all my life, you know. So I think those are one of the things that, I kept on knocking on the doors, talking to the people who have done it, and then, learning from the people who are already in the space and asking them questions. A lot of times, people don't ask questions, right? So good questions lead to, good answers or good outcomes. So I think a lot of people are, closing those doors, those possibilities, because they don't ask questions.
That's true. You're 100% right on that. But let me ask you this question over here. So what is a good question? What is the definition of good question? Because a lot of people, they do not ask questions because they get into this intimidation mode that my question might not be good. So let's talk about that. What is the definition of good question? First, you tell me yours, then I'll tell you mine.
Sure. Yeah, you first of all, before you go and ask a question, do your homework. What are you really trying to accomplish? If you cannot describe your question or a problem statement concisely, which is unambiguous, that means, the other person should understand it and relate it to the problem you're trying to solve. And I can bet you that, if there is a relevance to that problem statement, they will give you a good answer. So most of
Yes.
the time, people try to beat around the bush, trying to say something. They're not clear about what they are trying to do. So,
300% on that. Clarity is very important.
but yeah,
And as long as you have the clarity, after that, no question is a bad question, because a question that you do
exactly,
not know the answer, that is the best question to ask. If you do
exactly.
not know the answer, that question is the right question to ask. Maybe not for others, they know the answer. It might not be the right question for them, but for you, it's the right question to ask. So you need to open up there. So, I mean, you have a really, really strong, I would say, mindset. You've been talking about this, asking the right questions, being persistent, being focused. How did you acquire this mindset? Did you have this from the very get-go? I know you're from India. Our upbringing is different. We kind of grew up in a spiritual environment. Our parents teach us certain things, in our families, we learn certain things. Okay, we have to be more mindful. We have to be aware from the very get-go. So maybe is your upbringing like that, or was that a mind shift when you shift your position from being in the corporate world and becoming an entrepreneur?
I think it's a combination of both. I saw my dad building his business overseas as well as, domestic in India. And when you are a, entrepreneur, especially, I'm talking about the small SMB segment,
Mhm,
the you always work with limited resources.
mhm,
That means you have to put in your 100% and you have to wear multiple hats.
mhm.
Sometimes, you're a CFO of the company, and sometimes you're a hiring manager, you're interviewing at one side, and you're also creating a business plan. You're also basically executing that business plan. You're also a marketing person too when you're starting up. So I saw my father actually in action and, solving problems when I was in high school and in college. I shadowed him, and I also worked for him actually a couple of years before I moved outside and started traveling, early 90s. So that gave me a lot of exposure and a lot of, like problem solving real problems out there. Even though I had very limited experience as compared to my father, but I think he was just, throwing me in the situations out there and, having me solve those problems. And I was like, sometimes I used to really hate it actually. I said, you know what, I don't even know, what he's asking me to do. So, but when I look back, those years, and it was of so much value, right? It's like an unknown, right? A lot of times, people don't like, unexpected situations, right? So I've been into those, lot of those such, unexpected situations or unplanned, and you have to go and solve it. And I've been into many such situations in my early, I would say 20s, when I was but helping my father actually in his business.
That's being resilient, basically. So, share with me one incident or a time, like when you started this Wealthy Minds. So, any setback during that time or before that, then how did you handle that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's actually, I don't know whether the destiny had that in store for us, for me.
Mhm.
My previous business also started right before the financial turmoil, the financial, issues or economy was actually tanking at that time. And, the Wealthy Mind investment started right before COVID. COVID started in lockdowns and all of that in March. And, we launched the company in 2019. And right before COVID, actually, we organized a meetup, like just like literally took, invited people from the phone book and then, met a bunch of folks. I think about 30 to 40 people were there in Palo Alto. And we were very excited for that meetup. And we had plans that year. We were looking at a lot of investment opportunities, and boom, the COVID news came out. So what are you gonna do? It was like, the life is coming to an end. There was no vaccine, and everybody was scared, and there was a full lockdown. And then there was a big question mark. You know, should we pursue this business? Should we just abandon it? We don't know what's gonna happen to all of that. So we went with a mindset that everything is going to be okay. There will be a vaccine out there. We didn't know when, and things will come back to a normal. We didn't know when, how long it's gonna take. But we said that, okay, no matter what, we the good times or bad times, they are not permanent. These are the things that will get addressed over the period of time. So let's stay focused. We started a company, the and and the multifamily, especially, that's what we were focusing on. People need a place to live. So we're not gonna go wrong with that. And the pricing, the rates, the demand, it can go up and down, but people need shelter. you know when there are people, and it's not like a apocalypse, like everybody's gonna die. you know so that was another thing. This was not like a nuclear war happening. So it was a pandemic. And historically, if you look at it, there has been like pandemics in past. And human race is pretty intelligent, you know. There have been vaccines that were developed and people were able to, you know, overcome those adversities in the past. You know, bubonic plague was there, and there were instances like millions of people unfortunately lost their lives. But still, you know, human beings were able to innovate and you know, move forward. So I think those were the things, you know, the positive mindset again was coming into play, that this is not the end of the world. We can look at the news and you know, keep feeding ourselves, okay, you know what, let's not do anything, you know, just sit at home and don't do anything, watching for a vaccine or, you know, looking for a vaccine to come out. But no, I think decided, okay, no, you know what, life has to move on. Life has to move on. There will be some good news. Yeah. You might be muted.
I was going
You're,
to ask you, so you got all those 40 people invest with you then.
not all of them, but you know, some of them.
Oh, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The reason I asked you that question is because that was your first networking session that you created for yourself with your
Yes.
close friends, family friends, whatever. You started from there.
Yep.
And that was, I assume that was more like an educational event because you were one step ahead of them because you learned about the real estate investing. So you didn't talk about that. How did you learn about real estate investing? Were you investing yourself as a passive
Yeah.
investor? You were.
I have been investing prior to starting the company, you know, several years, and as a passive investor, learning, you know, how to evaluate the deals, you know, building relationships in the ecosystem, you know,
Mhm,
especially after the exit. I wanted to deploy my personal you know, funds,
mhm.
and that gave me an opportunity. You know, there were some good investments, there were some bad investments, and you know, that also uh, gave me an opportunity to, you know, learn the process of how to evaluate these investments, how to build these relationships, what to look for, you know, when you invest. You know, the team has to be good, besides just the investment has to be good. So I think it was a, you know, multiple variables, you know, to answer your question. And
Yeah,
that
so
was
you
all
were
in,
learning yourself, and then
yeah,
at the same time, you were building the community. And of course, communities, especially in the Indian arena, those communities are like really big, anyways. So some of the traits that you learn maybe at your job or from your
yeah,
families, how to network with people. How did that come handy? Because a lot of people they struggle to network, they are shy, they are hesitant, they are, I would say, more like introverts. So how would you define yourself? Are you introvert or extrovert? Or do you feel like pretty comfortable talking to people, like when you're
yeah.
trying to make friends outside? Mhm.
I'm not a, you know, like some people can be labeled as a pure like extroverts. I'm not, and
Mhm.
I'm not an introvert either. I
Okay.
mean, I've been going to a lot of these conferences and seminars prior to starting this business,
Mhm.
and I have no issues, you know, running into absolute stranger. And if I need to talk to them and, you know, they have a background which is relevant and, you know, I can add value to their profession or to their vocation or whatever business they are into, and they can add value to mine and vice versa, I will just, you know, go and talk to them,
Mhm.
start a
Mhm.
conversation, right? See, generally the people, human beings are friendly and they're helpful. I
Mhm.
think we create a barrier in our mind and then, you know, stop ourselves to uncover those opportunities. But in general, I would say that, you know, people are good.
So talk about that. How do you get rid of those barriers, or how do you break those limitations, like self-developed limitations? How do you do that?
Yeah, I think if you don't take the opportunity to start a conversation, then, you know, it kind of, you know, takes away those opportunities from you.
Mhm.
So what is the price that you have to pay? That means it will not uncover those opportunities that is in store for you. So
Mhm.
that's a huge price, you know. So
Mhm.
it's like a room full of all the people that you look up to. Now, if you go there and just stand in the corner and don't talk, what's going to happen? Somebody
Mhm.
else is going to go and talk. And guess what? What are you going to do? Just go there, watch them in action, and then, you know, your questions are all unanswered, right? You'll come back with a lot of things that you will hear, but you
Mhm.
will not engage into a, interactive discussion.
Mhm.
That's a lot of loss to you.
Mhm.
And I'm not okay with that.
Mhm.
I think the use of language is very powerful. The reason why I say that, because
Mhm.
here we are having a conversation. You're asking me questions and I'm asking you questions sometimes, and you're answering your question. If you don't ask me a question, guess what? I'm gonna tell something on my own, and we're gonna end this conversation, right? So you are asking me questions that you're uncovering a lot of things, like you're like an onion, you're peeling one layer after another, and you're one thing is leading to the next. The same
Mhm.
thing, when you meet new people, you have to ask these questions.
Mhm. Yeah, you said it very well. And then we're talking about keys to unstoppable success today. That's our topic, right? So
Yeah,
this communication is the number one key in that,
yeah,
because you have to be a good communicator in order to do anything in your life, because that's how you're going to be building your network. And as long as you have the network around you, you can always reach out to them and you will learn how to connect the dots, because you're going to be learning. You said one thing earlier, very good, that you said, when you talk to people, you're adding value to them. And then those people are going to be giving back to you this way or that way. So that way you're creating that nexus for yourself. And that knowledge sharing is happening, which is expanding not just yourself, your mind, but also it's expanded your whole being, whether you take it as personally, your life or your business or whatever, because it's like one mind versus many. And
yeah.
that's why we have AI in the picture today. Did you start using AI by chance?
Yeah, we've been using it right from the beginning, AI. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. Share with us how you're using it and how is helping you enhance your business. Would love to hear that.
Yeah, we use it for a lot of analysis. When we throw all these spreadsheet and sometimes these documents, sometimes these reports, and then start
Mhm.
building up these automations around ChatGPT
Mhm.
to review a lot of information, summarize it, concise it, and make it more like English-like to understand, make it simple for the investors, and sometimes for internal use as well. For
Mhm.
marketing, a lot of these the generative AI, from time to time. Yeah, we just coming from the technology background ecosystem. I think if we don't use it, we are missing a huge opportunity out there.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. But I was thinking that to ask you this question, since you have a corporate background and I have a corporate background too, so mindset is very different. So, what do you think is crucial for the corporate people to
Yeah.
learn in order to enter this real estate investing market or alternative investments? Because being in the corporate world, we are just taught stock bonds, even
Yeah.
we don't even leverage our 401k. Even we do, we just do stock bonds only. I mean, that's what the limited knowledge there. So how can someone expand their horizon and create this mindset shift so that they are opening multiple doors for them for multiple income streams?
So majority of the people, when they shadow or, watch other people successful, they always think, why can't I do this? Right.
Mhm.
So it's all about educating yourself. Some people just try to copy it. When I say copy, means that they want to emulate it, but they don't want to spend time, invest time to study. Like, when I say study, that, you either join a group of people or a meetup or sometimes attend a conference and then hear from the people how they've done it, or a mastermind. So that educating yourself is the first step.
Mhm.
Rather than just, there's a shiny object out there and then you say, oh, I wish I can have that too. No,
Mhm.
that's not the approach actually. That shiny object may not be the right fit for you, right?
Mhm.
So it has to make sense to you. You have to really understand it. Is that something that you really want to do? And some people are good in stocks. Some people are good in, buying just, promissory notes. Some people are good in, investing into real estate. Some people are into cryptocurrency. So you have to really ask yourself, have you understood that asset class? Have you understand that ecosystem, before we enter into that? And I think that's what I did actually, for several years before I started this business. So I educated myself. I joined Mastermind. I joined a lot of these conferences, attended a lot of conferences, and surrounded myself with people who were really successful.
Mhm.
And it was not just, overnight that, we started this company. We baked in a lot of, knowledge, a lot of experience investing ourselves first before we jumped into this business.
Yeah, we talk about so many things to unstoppable success, like
Yeah,
being persistent, being focused, communication, or being
yeah.
communicative. It does not matter whether you're introvert or extrovert. It's
Done,
just
yeah.
like your own belief system, figuring out who you are, getting more aware, self-awareness right there, and accordingly try to break some patterns for yourself.
Yeah.
And being resilient, that's the other pillar that you can add to it, to your unstoppable success. All these things help. And then you talk about the networking.
Yeah.
Networking is so important. And then comes to the strategic partnerships, because let's say you wanted to partner with somebody as limited partner, you wanted to invest in somebody's deals. So how do you create that trust relationship? Because I think the main hesitation for people is just like, they don't want to take a risk because there's a knowledge gap. And you talk about that too, actually, earlier, educate yourself. But what are the resources, or how are you educating your investors? Tell us that.
Yeah, one of the things that, we do it ourselves, and that's what we tell all our investors is that ask all the most difficult questions. Don't be shy. If there is something that, that is bothering you, it just openly ask. That's what we did too. We had a list of questions. Oh, we want to talk to your existing investors. We want to, check the references. No matter the size of the sponsor, or the you know uh, the syndicator that we work with, we 100% check all their backgrounds. Very comprehensive background check. Regardless of the size of the company, we just go and, check their backgrounds. If the principals are not okay with it, we don't invest a single dollar with them.
Mhm.
So, and I see a lot of people, what, they hesitate. Yeah, oh, maybe, it's such a big company, maybe we should not do that. No, there's no I would say there is no other way. There's no shortcut.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
you're so right about that. Yeah, it's again, it boils down to your own mindset, basically, because
yeah,
you create your own limitations. And if you're open, it's pretty much, sky is the limit.
and then, people like to work with people that they like to be around with.
That's true.
That's another thing, actually. People like to co-invest, like to be in business with the people that they like to be around with, right?
Hmm.
So, in other words, you may want to interpret as, oh, be likable,
That's so true.
and then be coachable, be open,
Mhm.
be coachable. A lot of people are not coachable, right? They're
That's
not
true.
they're not open to actually learn from others.
Yeah, they're not, because it's like my way or highway kind of thing. I know, been there, done that. I've seen multiple people,
Yeah.
but I know we are out of time, and I love talking to you more. But here, I'm going to ask you one more golden nugget. You have shared so many golden nuggets here already with us, key to unstoppable success. And now add one more to it.
Oh, okay. I think one of the things that has over the period of time has come to me realization is you have to be vulnerable. I think a lot of times, people are not vulnerable. That means, they are not open and admitting they, and I think that's very important. If you are if you are open to expose yourself and then be open about, what's going on in your life or something is bothering you, I think talk about it. Whether it's to your friend, whether it is to your, advisor, whether it's your board of advisors, whether it is to your investors. I think that means, don't hide information, just share it. Be
Being
vulnerable.
transparent.
Yeah. So you
Mhm.
can apply it in all the spheres of your life, no matter whether you're doing a business or starting a business, no matter what your role is. I think this is applicable to all of us.
That's so true. I like that, being vulnerable, because it's important actually.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable is going to open a lot of doors for you, because otherwise you're just like not fluid enough, right? You're just
Yeah.
like, not everything is set in stone, it's just life, learn to live basically. If you are just like
Yeah,
so hard kind of core person, you'll be limited. So
yeah,
when you're vulnerable, you're fluid because you're seeing things differently.
yeah. It leads to actually, building trust with other people, number one. It has led to actually building long-lasting relationships and friendships. So
That's so true.
So because people will see through you, right? When you are vulnerable, people can just see through you, eye to eye that, whether he's lying or he's not lying, whether he's honestly, telling you something or not, he's not telling, right? So people are smarter than, like, that's how, you look at the kid, sometimes the kids are very, very blunt. They just tell you on your face, black and white because
Because
they're very vulnerable, right? They're very vulnerable. They don't care about how you will process it. But as we grow up, we stop those habits, good habits. I think it's a very basic thing, I would say.
That's true because we set certain patterns and we just follow those patterns all over life. So unless we start realizing and breaking those, we're just gonna be keep on doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the different results. This brings us to a rapid fire round. I'm gonna ask you 5 questions. You're gonna answer it only in one word or one sentence. Are you
Okay,
ready?
sure.
All right.
Go
So
for
the
it.
first question is, what is one of the most important thing that you've learned in your life? And how did your life change after learning it?
Reading is, I think, the most important one. And
Great.
reading has led to, open so many doors, uh, educating myself, not just reading books, reading articles. And I think reading opens up your mind overall.
That's true. It expands your mind, and we all know that when the mind expands, it never shrinks back. It never comes back to the same place. So, Ashish, share one good book that you like and like to recommend to my audience.
There is one book that really impacted, the mindset and overall, kind of shapes up how you approach towards life in general, whether it's business or your personal life. It's called Man's Search for Meaning by
Yes,
Viktor Frankl. Very popular book. I think this has been very impactful.
great. What
Sure.
is your biggest passion in one word?
Uh, you got me on that. Yeah. My passion is actually to empower uh, kids and achieve their dreams. I think that's what I really I think in the beginning I asked you, I'm the possibility. I think that's what my passion is.
That's good. So you're a good parent. If you could turn back in time and talk to your younger self, what would you tell yourself and why?
Um, I would have been more disciplined reader, more disciplined reader, and take some more risk in the early on.
That's good. I like that. Take more risk. That's good. So how can people reach out to you?
Oh, I can share my email. It's Ashish at wealthymindinvestments.com. Uh, I think that's the best way to reach out to me. Our business website is wealthymindinvestments, one word.com. Or they can always reach out to you and you can
All
connect them
right.
with me.
Yes, I will do that. Thank you so much, Ashish. I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you so much, Vinki.